Okay, so welcome to celebrating 15 years of Červená Barva Press. And I am just really excited that we made it to 15 years. And I hope I have some more years of doing it. Um, we have published over 200 books, and this year we have published 13 so far. And 2 of them have to be put up on the website yet, but I'm really excited. Um, we are very active. We have a reading series, poetry and translation roundtables, a poetry and artist series, pastry with poets, workshops, the Lost Bookshelf bookstore, and Read America Read. And for the past 7 years, or 7.5 really, we've been in the Armory. And I love it there, so I hope we can open soon. So our first reader is Vincent Dorio. He is active with the Carpenter Poets in JP, and one of his poems has been seen on display at Boston City Hall, which is really cool. And so I give you Vincent.
You're muted, Gloria. I don't see him on the list.
Unmute yourself, Vincent. Oh, there you go.
Okay, how you, thank you very much. Congratulations to Gloria, and I hope we do see each other soon at the Armory. That'd be great. There's actually a page on Facebook too called the Carpenter Poets of Eastern Massachusetts, which spells out CPOEM, if you ever want to check out some of the videos there. So I'm going to start with Running Bond. Taught to believe success came in a suit, work hard, be poor, live on dreams of more, build a home, a family. Success comes in generations. Certainly, we're better off, right? Just a brick in a wall of time. I thank the bricks below me. Hallowed be thy grain, bark stripped, branches cut, timber hewn, such beauty in life, as pure a gift serving in death. Again and again, man and tree grow to become what they make of each other. Honor. The last of the mahogany, like the great elephants, they will be hunted. Their grains and burls mounted in the library trophy room. I will tell of holding that tree, the last majestic, truly. I will tell of when they all stood as if the hairs on the arms of God. We stand on today, the air around us rich and deep. We pray together. When I die, I want someone there to yell, timber, and I will fall over straight and make that sound. I want to ride the big bed through the saw, the one that cuts the big trees. My last request, to be slabbed for tabletops, the wood that has settled in myself, polished and stained, each slice embedded in resin, signed and numbered pieces. Feathers I have found. These scraps I piece together with the threads that I find. I weave in the feathers, some shells, some sun-bleached pieces of wood, a garment to pass the guards. The words I put down this day are the drawings on my cave wall. My basket of seagrass and indigo that I might make for my daughter's wedding. I want to be that hawk in the photo, wings stretched so wide across endless blue sky. I would be the bullfighter who kneels, un adorno, and lets this one live, too magnificent to humiliate. That life, my opera, that gesture, my stone on the lake, the ripples to wash over and soften the edges, the water to forgive the stone. Stone walls. My dad built walls, but I carried the stone, bucket by bucket, picked from the swamp across the highway. The highway took 3 of our dogs, 3 German shepherds named Shep, 2, 4, and 5. You see, they came around Dead Man's Curve really fast before they see. One dog thrown in the trash truck, making me glad he wasn't my real father. We got to name Dead Man's Curve. That night we were woken from the sound of the car hitting the trees. The guy we all knew because he had a hand locked in a fist. Drove with just the thumb on the wheel, no grip to spin the wheel back to straight. We used to joke about my father's stiff hand too. We used to say he always carried the beer can to hide his stiff fist. I always thought it would have been him in that car. Wine glass full. It's not a wine glass anymore. I put it in a safer glass. Wine glass full. I didn't know I had lost my marbles until I started to find them. Amidst the demo debris, under 3 tons of plaster set by the San Marco brothers back in 1898. These years later, I need a sledgehammer to pry and loose the grip, shoveling, picking, sweeping. It would always amaze in its position, in a spot that it would stay until I came to recover it. The glass and plastic sphere, home to the glass with the others, wondering how will I know when I've gathered them all? I'm hoping once the final glass ball is with the others, I will be split with light, given the sight to see the whole mystery as a simple game. Roll them, pitch them, get more of them in your pouch, or wait till they come to you, hand-picked by chance. Keep your eyes open. That might be the whole thing right there. And these all were found in the demo of houses over 30 years. The epic. The epic I'll write will tell tales of yore. I will speak of good men who have done many great things. I will talk of the house, the one we built. There will be tales of great strength, of stamina, of drive, how we all pulled together to stitch and to yarn, to make it all happen in spite of the storms. The owners, the bankers, the brokers, no faith in the process. They bring doubt and distraction, theories and pictures. The epic would tell of endurance and pulling together as the men on the great ships. The struggles, the triumphs, the tales I could tell, the laughter, the banter, the music, the noise, pranksters, gangsters, even a Tibetan monk. My first taste of yak cheese. It would all be in my epic. I would not leave anything out. There was even a dog. Of her, I could go on all night, but please don't get me started. This one was written for the Lauren Greeno house in Jamaica Plain. It's got a fascinating history. House at home. Ships to England, taking our lumber and seeds. King's pines for a mightier mast, the biggest on any sea, eastern white pine. Ships to Jamaica, spices and greed. Slaves stacked to keep the sugar dry. Bodies and cane to bring to New England. Rum for lumber. Fur. Take what you will to conquer this land, oak. Bring something back to conquer the people, rum. Slaves stacked to fit more. Loring brings lumber for the house from old to New England. Lumber for rum, tobacco. Builds this, his mansion, the joiner's work done back home, assembled on these 60 acres, taken in the king's name, maple. Leaving out the jewelry and paintings, the rum and wine hidden in the basement, bricked over, spruce. Loring went back after 2 years. Yes, I have always eaten the king's bread, and I always mean to. Trees going back as lumber, at home, as this home, walnut. Greeno married into the house, owned by the widow Anna Doane. 'Tis the Greenos that found the rum, while ready in the house for dancing. They say that at that wedding, they partied like it was 1899. Home. Now I work at a reuse center, so these two were written from that experience of people reusing items. This old saw, repurposed, they call it, a piece of decorative art, manufactured in the days of family-run business, when you held a job for life. The Diston saw, a monster in the field, cutting 2x10s when they were 2x10. Men home from war built houses for their community. Every man had a handsaw he kept sharp to keep up with the job's demands. His file ready nearby to sharpen the fleam to a razor-like edge. The D8 was the Cadillac of saws with its skew back and close-up handle. Most men had the number 12 with a straight back and a set back handle. The real difference was in the arm pushing and the eye to guide. So now it hangs on the wall of a chain restaurant, a piece of the past, its medallion shined, to remind us of when work was done with your hands and houses were built to last forever. This old saw too. I started out sharp, slicing through, rake angle set to an aggressive 14 degrees. Most days I cut through boards toe to heel, one after another, a quick file across my teeth, and I tear through the rest of the pile. From birds' mouths to rafter tails, I could not be stopped. The years have passed. Many a project notched into my let-in handle. I spend my days in a garage out back, a quick cut now and then, a straight, clean cut, a wipe of oil and back on the pegboard between the plumb bob and the wooden rule. To sweep or not to sweep. They all say they want it, a clean workspace. It is their home after all. Sometimes though, my effort is measured in chips and dust. To remove it all, destroy the evidence of production. Who's to say what happened here today in this clean and tidy space? Certainly with no witnesses, no collaboration, how would they know? Trust goes both ways. I sweep and dust and I fill the bags. I used to be a carpenter. I've been in your house or your neighbors or the people down the street. I took some stuff out, put some stuff back in. It really was quite sweet. The stuff on the front of the house made the house happy. The stuff inside the house made the people happy. I played with your dog. I made your children laugh. I let them use my tape measure, or I'd give them one of their own. I took the good with the bad, the laughter, the joy, the sad. I was there when your best friend was killed. We almost didn't make it through that one. It really was quite a ride. Over now. I'm kind of glad. The work was good. The dog supreme. The children made me glad. It really was just a small percent that thought they knew better. Saw it on their TV set, get done in less than an hour. Everything costs too much, they'd say, as in the Range Rover, they'd drive away. Still, I take the dogs and the children any day. And this was a recent response type poem from last year. Woods from away. I can't imagine only working with one wood. My mahogany from one of those shithole countries held at the border, unable to make it into my picture frame. That Baltic birch, perfect for so much. That bamboo so strong and lightweight, teak or ipe for my Adirondack chair, held with stainless steel screws to last a lifetime. Don't get me wrong, I love American woods. Clear Select Eastern White Pine is soft like butter, red and white oak, maple, cherry, ash for that bat Ortiz used to send that ball to Alston. But that's not what borders are for. Borders are there so we know where to stand to welcome you and your children, to sit on that chair at my Baltic birch tabletop. When will Jesus be back? As a boy, I was told he would be back when they bombed the 40 Christian children. I thought now, when they took 20 more at Newtown, I thought, why would he wait? 4 little black girls killed in Birmingham. Did we miss him? Maybe it was Martin or Bobby or John, their promise cut down with them. Maybe Walt Disney, knowing we would find a way to bring back his frozen head at the time we were ready for his teachings from the mouth of God. John Lennon seemed like an obvious choice. Imagine being his most relevant sermon. It might have been Matthew Shepard, one of God's children's crucified. It seems the devil is ready to move whenever something pure shows that light. Mr. Rogers, first to spread kindness and sharing through a new medium called TV. And what of the women kept in the shadows for so long, yet able to work through and contribute to the collective consciousness? What of Sadako, 2 years old and caught in Hiroshima at the time the earth was split in two, dying of leukemia at age 12? Children still make peace cranes for her today. Elizabeth Seton, born into a wealthy family, creating a network of over 30,000 nuns to care for the displaced, those stricken by tragedy, establishing the first free Catholic day school, first Catholic orphanage, later becoming the first American saint, herself publishing 1 book of poetry. There are just some of the examples of Jesus's work from people in my lifetime and in my country, but what of other places, other times? Could it be that he or she has been back many times already? Could it be we wouldn't know Jesus if she was standing next to us at the bar? Could it be she was married to the last president? Maybe it's a cranky Jewish guy from Vermont. Or it could be Malala Yousafzai speaking out for girls' education and getting shot in the head for it. Imagine being so afraid of your daughter getting an education, you would shoot a 15-year-old child in the head. Her winning a Nobel Prize, creating a worldwide fund and movement to further opportunity for girls everywhere, and studying at Oxford University while doing this. It seems we have no shortage of candidates for Jesus or the devil. Which one will you be known as? It's okay to be neither, but acknowledge the Jesus on the street or in the house. See past the Osteens and the biggest phony, Paula White, hands outstretched to her God, the dollar bill. Talk less of the phony and more about the authentic. Their names should be spread. Their words should be known. Don't feed the devil's fire. Allow the light. Open the door to light. I am Malala. Thank you.
don't put it on.
Thank you, Vincent. Our next reader is Elizabeth, and she's the author of Promise Supermarket, and she makes handmade books. She is a regular at the William Joyner Writing Program, and she is also a member of the School Street Sessions at the Omni Parker House. And so I give you Elizabeth.
Thank you. Yes, I should have seen a little more. Because I have the bifocals and I have to do this, I don't mean to be rude. Some of the first poem's very old, some of the other poems are old and some are new. The new ones are in progress still. My daughter, the artist at 5. At home, sipping cocoa, she makes songs as she works. Her fingers form a thick pastel figure, head and arms like Popeye. A space woman, she says. She crayons brown smiling witch with a wand and stars in her hair. Hearts that pulsate adorn my walls. One portrait, perhaps Nana, the eyes in wide smile depicting her madness. She tapes a clean sanitary pad to the bottom of one scene. Snow, she says. On the way home, she chased me, throwing magic flakes that disappear. She left her angel mark, moving her arms and legs all the way. Drawing another figure, she says, the arms don't come out of the head. First head, then neck, then shoulders and arms. I made a mistake before. I put the legs before the body. I, who studied anatomy in art school, am silent, remembering her self-portrait, her skating, and me, a tiny figure in her hair. Parker River Refuge, Plum Island. For Elizabeth Bryan Callahan, my mother. November 30th, 1915, January 30th, 2005. Our last trip of the season, we pack our picnic lunch, a fried chicken, potato, the cooler filled with water, cookies for the afternoon, arriving long after the greenhead season, driving into the refuge past purple loosestrife, yellow ragweed, to fields of swamp grasses, lime and emerald green, specks of red, brown. We passed binoculars back and forth, stopping to view a blue heron, one leg lifted, its yellow beak ready to pierce. The snowy egrets fly overhead, wings flash light in the sun, driving past the pools of plovers, their quick steps, to the bumpy road covered with soft dust, past wild bayberry, red rose hips to park, make our way along the path of hot sand, lined with purple sweet peas, red rose hips. For a day of sun, tiptoe the cold water's edge, swim in search of large waves, read and later walk, our feet sinking into the sand clay. The rocky path facing the cliffs of sunken pine, logs washed up ashore turned white. Examine each stone, shell, in search of sand dollars, till the first yell, I found it, was always my daughter. It was always my daughter. Back to sun and blue in front, behind, above. Later we pack. Yolanda rubs each speck of sand from between her toes. Nana stands to have her picture taken and insists, just me, in her black bathing suit. On the ride back through the refuge near sunset, a deer crosses our path, stops, turns briefly to us, then leaps into the bush. We stop and park, take the wildcat walk, a wooden platform into the swamp, the sounds of birds' cries overhead, scissor-tailed swifts, martins, barn swallows dart back and forth eating mosquitoes, tribes of egrets, gulls, an occasional heron, hawk. The sky turns magenta, purple, reds. This must be heaven. This must be home. A day at the beach, Plum Island, for Falcon Levi Quinlan, born November 30th, 2012. We think of her on the drive, talk how we pick up her lobster roll or Boston chicken feast, mashed potatoes, cream spinach, and a pie, apple or peach from Tender Crop Farm when she couldn't go anymore. And there was the giant slow buffalo we'd feed bread. Now we take you, Falcon, to see the bull, the llamas, and animals you know from your picture books, ducks, roosters, lambs, goats, making the sounds you know, ma, ma, ma. Driving into the refuge, she's like an invisible mist in the air, surrounding her favorite place. Our full days of picnicking, swimming, walking, and towards our leaving, birds flocking our drive out. Your mother was 8, Falcon, 9, 10, 30. We kept returning. And now you, Falcon, with your mama, papa, and Nana, 18 months old, running the soft, wet sand, chasing your mama, your papa, and Nana. Your beach ball tumbles down the shore, and papa chases it, the slight wind taking it. You giggle out loud, surrounded by blue, your favorite color of sea and sky. Then looking up to see a tiny plane, papa lifts you in your eyes. Your dark eyes glint from the sun, and your dark eyes fixed on the returning plane. Your dark curls against the blue sky with a hint of auburn like your mother. Your eyes meeting the sky to watch the plane fly straight up, higher and higher, then disappear, then reappear, then turn and fall, twirling, flashing silver and red. Falcon visits my flower garden. Late August, the drought, 2016. 1. In early spring, Falcon said, the trees are sad, no rain. How did he know? Rain promised evaporates. Now trees sway, rattle, a dry music, brittle branches. Here in my garden, Falcon sees no blue hydrangeas, just green. No Mexican sunflowers, no woodpeckers or golden finches, no towering red velvet queen sunflowers, turning their holy flames towards the sun. Falcon picks the rosemary, mint, thyme, sage, lavender, and fennel, rubbing the oil through his fingers. He says, nice. 2. Near the magenta cosmos, with both hands he picks up the giant pink conch shell and puts it to his ears, listens to the sea's whispering waves, a gift to his great-grandmother. He never knew her world. Oh, seas, she knew as a girl swimming with dolphins off Ipswich Bay. What sea and green world will Falcon know? Falcon and I water the tall zinnias low. I show him just to the roots, no waste. We make a quick swish on the lawn across the sun. Wow, he says, a rainbow. The great yellow swallowtail arrives on the purple butterfly bush, then circles the garden sipping. The black swallowtail's constant flapping, feeding on fennel. First monarch the summer lands on a brilliant orange zinnia. No brown spot of fertilia, no gem-like tiny skippers, no painted lady. I want him to see all up close nectaring with his magnifying glass, but he chases them away, circling across the dry grass. I think I'll just have a sip of water if I can find it. Sorry. Butterflies in the time of the pandemic, 2020. Falcon's last day of school, March 5th, Mummy's good instincts to keep him home. Then the next week, the school closed. After picking up the packet from the school for virtual learning, Papa and Mummy saw Miss Gates, the science teacher, at the supermarket. She'd always loved Falcon. Last year, she gave him a book on monarchs, the year we hatched, our first caterpillar from an egg on milkweed. My daughter became the mother of the butterfly, learning to lift it safely by its back wings onto the sugar nectar. She watched everything on videos. Sometimes they don't know what to do. Later, Falcon shared the caterpillar with school, and later released the monarch butterfly with his class. That day at the supermarket, Miss Gates ran to her car, gave Mummy 4 tiny caterpillars, painted ladies. They grew larger, then formed the butterfly chrysalis, emerging, the first one larger, each one smaller. Within days of the school closing, we got the email. Someone from the school community tested positive. Who? An administrator, a teacher, or student, or parent? We'd share the videos of caterpillars, then chrysalis, and metamorphosis, then their nectaring with the virtual class. Falcon was so excited. Falcon and I took walks around the closed park, then up the hills to quiet streets looking for flowers. Dandelions, small flowers on runners on the edge gardens, small stems from forsythia bushes. We were discovering spring unfolding. He loved to take pictures. Trees began to blossom, the deep pink cherry, our favorite. Then a flower or two from the azaleas. Can I pick a tulip, he asks. No, I say, we can't pick any of the flowers people have grown, except maybe one small one in a large patch along the edge. What about me, he said, I want a bouquet. Of course, I say, but remember, these flowers will be for the butterflies' nectar, their food. But he knows that. He takes photos of gardens and decorations, tries to snap photos of birds tiptoeing, but they fly away. At first, he didn't like distancing from others as we walked, but he got better at it, understanding. A run is coming, he'd say. One day we saw the twins with their mom, each pushing a doll carriage with their doll babies. They called, Falcon, Falcon. Then we all stopped short, 6 feet away, and talked. We stopped going to circle the park. The path seemed too small, and virus numbers going up so fast here. Mommy makes fresh sugar water. We change the flowers for fresh ones. I bring ripe bananas, cut grapes, apples, and oranges cut in fourths. Falcon has a bird and butterfly identifying books and binoculars. By now, 2 butterflies look like they're trying to mate, but one rips into the larger painted butterfly's wing. Cooped up together too long, but it's too cold to release them. We end up with 3 containers. 2 are plastic bottoms with saran wrap taped down and holes popped. We want them to survive and fly away. We try to keep walking, but then it's less and less with masks, and it's hot. It's hotter. I start picking blossoms, deep pink and white, from 2 trees near the train station when Papa drops me to Mummy's. A warm day comes, so Falcon and Papa take a ride through the big deserted field, park closed. Way high up above is a red-tailed hawk's nest. Falcon, the storyteller, says, I saw the eggs in the nest, but we know it was too high. Then he says, I can see the baby birds now. He can't, but he knows there are eggs and baby birds. He sees the 2 red-tailed hawks fly in and out. Papa and Falcon open the containers, and 3 butterflies fly away. One plays dead, and on the recording we hear Falcon say, oh, it's dead, I think it's dead. Then Papa says, I don't know, it might be. Then it flies away with the others, or was it the wind? When Falcon shares it virtually with his class, Mommy cuts a sound, and when she plays it for me, he runs out of the room, shuts the bedroom door. Though the butterflies didn't make noise, at least not that we could hear, the house seemed quiet now without them. We're learning more about planting plants that swallowtails leave their eggs on, hoping to hatch more monarchs too. But earlier this year, and maybe black and yellow swallowtails. Today I saw my first tiger swallowtail fly across my garden. I've held hope in the coming weeks for the amazing beauty, agility, and strength of the delicate butterflies will hatch and take flight. Dina J. Tavares, my friend, was the inspiration to hatch a butterfly, monarch butterfly. She shared her video with me of her hatching monarchs, my learning from her the tiny smudge, how the fine brush-like white would become the little egg on the milkweed leaf. Then the beautiful green, like new leaves unfolding, the chrysalis like a jewel, and the metamorphosis of the monarch emerging. Dina is a naturalist, a poet, an actor, a visual artist, and a musician, as well as an activist. Thank you, Dina. And Dina will be reading for Rosie Reads in September. I'm sure it will be virtual. And one more poem, Falcon's Natural History Collection, summer of 2020. My grandson's boxes sit on an open closet made into an office, on the shelves with his nature books, his binoculars. Insects and bugs secure in plastic boxes with lids, his large, beautiful Sphinx moth, 2 beetles, a bee, as well as an empty praying mantis pod that once had eggs, and a piece of honeycomb, all dropped off out front by Miss Gates, his science teacher. Then he captured spiders, small and white, climbing quickly the plastic walls of their cage. Then flies caught, they drank from. Yuck. The head fell off. Several flies found, caught, then none. The spiders forgotten, found wrapped in their own web, gone. The small black rice weevils that Mummy looked up, good at climbing up and down the slippery walls, then laid for a long time feasting on dry rice. His own collection of rocks from beaches Papa's bureau, on walks, and several crystals from Harvard Natural Museum. Among his treasures, a red-tailed hawk's feather, the skull of a seagull, fragile, given to Papa by a friend at work. Then Papa brought Falcon gifts, a lovely turtle shell with beautiful markings, and a box with a note inside saying, "This fossil of a bear's tooth was found in a cave in Russia. It is 40,000 years old." At the drive-by graduation, stopping at the table, we were covered in masks. We collect his diploma, a bag of treats from his regular teacher. Mr. Veterizzi left a bag labeled "Don't throw away." It's the promised nest from a tree in New Hampshire, where his technology teacher had red-breast robin's nest in a tree by the house. When Falcon asked to see it, the birds had hatched and flown. But Mr. Veterizzi was so nice and promised to send him the nest. There inside the paper bag, a plastic bag, the nest wrapped carefully in saran wrap, delicate and special, with twigs, straws, grass, mud-packed sides, and a cracked blue egg that hatched and flew. The many seashells Falcon collected from beaches always went out of the baggie into our garden. They had to stay to weather out their stink. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I hope I didn't go over. I decided not to time in case it went off. I hope I didn't go over, but
Oh, you're fine.
good.
Bert Stern is our next reader, and he is co-founder of Off the Grid Press, and they do beautiful, beautiful books. He's the author of numerous books, and he also for 15 years taught for changing lives through literature. And I give you Bert. You have to unmute yourself.
How much time should I take?
15 minutes.
Okay,
Okay.
give me a little nudge if I.
Well, I don't time anybody. You have to do that yourself.
I'll do my
Okay.
best. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to start with some poems from what I hope will be my next book. You can't imagine what it feels like at 90 to be talking about your next book. It's as if there's a future. Anyway, I'm going to start with a love poem. I write a lot of love poems. I'm never sure whether it's because I like the form or because I'm in love, but I'll give myself a break. Maybe it's because I'm in love. Anyway, here's the first, without a title. It's only you walking up the stairs to see, walking up the stairs to me after your stroll around Fresh Pond, where you moved among trees that were old friends and read the bank as if it were a line you'd written. But this is home, where eating, sleeping, reading, or watching TV, evenings, we are near to each other. We are near to each other. Here's a little poem about a kind of improvised horse race I saw in Jocotepec in Mexico many, many years ago, but it made an impression on me. It's called near Jocotepec. Happy, excited, gossiping. The crowd doesn't mind the long wait, which goes on for an hour and then some, until at one end of the big field, two boys in white chemises and nothing else sit bareback on quarter horses until somebody fires a pistol in the air and they are off. Horses and boys aching and stretching to win. And then it's over. Money changes hands and everybody eats watermelon from somebody's nearby patch. Here's another love poem. I don't know that it means anything, but I like it. It's called 20 Miles Out. For us, this practical rain, clouds brushing the windshield, the sound of windshield wipers, glisten of headlights on wet asphalt. Where are we going? Just home. I write neighborhood poems to some extent, just about things I observe or imagine about my little block on Quincy Street in Somerville. This one's called My Neighbor's Flag Still Flies. My neighbor's flag still flies in the teeth of a snowstorm, just about to burst forth in as many weeks. Kevin almost gives me hope. That's what he's about, hope against hope. And I miss him, and I bless him for patriotic innocence, mine lost as collateral damage from my own TV Vietnam. Can someone tell me why Kevin keeps his with legs still shrapnel riddled and mind that blows apart each 4th of July or 10th anniversary? The snow has begun to fall. Tomorrow, I'll pay my neighbor's son to snow blow me free. He's a plumber who gets into fights. My neighbor's wife has left him to retire to a nice facility an hour north of here. He was driving her crazy. I raise my glass of luck to all of them, of Jack to all of them, the ones who somehow go on, somehow keep the faith. This poem is just simply called After. We were like people we'd watched on television, clothes dirty and torn from long walking, rags for shoes. The old wore most and fell away, along with the sick and weak. Americans, we had not thought that this could come to us. Floodwater on the coasts, inland parched soil, such crops as had grown devoured long since. The eyes of the children understand everything, and we walked hand in hand, and we walked heads down in shame. On the coasts, drowned people, others desperate, still afloat on planks or naked stamina. We know what they were, what we were. We were refugees without refuge, without hope. The sun still rose, but bright days were like fog to us. I guess I'll go to some books. These are from my last book. No, my second last book. This one's called Should Lottie Leave Home? I liked it. She worked for a lawyer who wanted to send her to law school, but her father wouldn't let her because he needed her salary to get her brother into med school. Some of you are too young to remember such times. You're lucky to be past them when women just gladly threw their lives away for males. Anyway, the poem is called Should Lottie Leave Home? Harold talked to me more than he had to. I was just a typist. About cases, he asked me my advice, and about his wife. Sometimes I gave it. What did I know? I was a girl, but too smart for a typist, he said. So he'd stand by my desk, and once he touched my hair. You're smart, Lottie. You know what's going on. He would send me to law school if I wanted. You'll make money for me. You don't have to type. You're too smart for this. I knew what he wanted, but he meant it. A chance he was giving me, my last chance. He wanted I should live by myself, take a room. I liked him. I didn't care. With my one short leg, nobody could like me. But I was wrong. And about his wife, we could see later. I was a good girl, but I needed to go out of the house where my father sat at the table, staring at his teacup. And always we had to try to please him. Us girls, we should be like servants. The young ones he kept home after school to help my mother. Sorry. Me, I was smart. He let me out to make money for Maury's education. When I told my mother, she looked at me like I killed her. The kinder stopped talking to me. They just stared. Harold waited, but he was sure for himself. He had solved everything. His wife was a shicker. All day she sipped wine like a lady, but she was a shicker. That's a drunk. He came home to never any supper, never something nice. Once alone in the office with me, he took out his thing and wanted me to touch it. I ran out of the office and walked up and down Delaware. I drank coffee at work in Woolworths, then went home like I'd been all day at work. Next day at the office, he was sorry. This didn't happen again. Weeks went by. I told Harold, yes, almost ready, but I lied. At home were the children, they knew nothing. Who would teach them the world? At home was my mother, brave to come to America, where every morning her Herschel, thank God, allowed he did not make him, that God did not make him a woman. Listen, I told Harold, I will come to you later. No, later didn't come. Crying, my mother came to my room every night to beg me and tell me she would die. She hadn't even talked to my father. They couldn't stop me. All I had to do was put my clothes in a bag and walk out the door. But she didn't. This poem is called Buffalo, 1938. Evenings that went on forever, still unfolding. Deep Buffalo winter, living room, soft auburn, daddy asleep on his back, evening news over his face, mother knitting in her chair, reading the book on her lap, I at her feet reading. Silence. I can hear our breathing. This poem is called Counting Crows. I spent some time up in the Adirondacks. Hope I still will. I don't know, it's hard to travel these days. Anyway, this is an Adirondack poem about a real clothesline. 4 crows in silhouette pass over the tulip tree while I unload the trunk of groceries and plastic bags. Broccoli, a ham, jar of cherry jam, a watermelon proud of its seeds, leeks, sophisticates, pastel green and white, keeping their dirt inside as we do. As I cross the road, rope scrap hanging from maple limb, hoochie cooches in the wind. As for me, I take pills to breathe, pills to be happy, but still spitting venom, snakes rise from brown paper bags in my dreams. So I praise the four crows, buzzards riding thermals, squirrel lice, and the squirrel on the maple limb, scratching her gold gray haunches in pale sun with the rear foot that drives like a piston. I guess I'll read a few poems from my last book. I think I got time. This poem is called Doe, as in little deer. Doe. No news from the steady strings of a 2-day rain or drip drop off the eaves. No news in scant light, earth and sky gone vaporous. Also, the nervous doe grazing the north rim of the parched meadow, looking up and around between bites. Then my chair straight to porch. I watch the porch I watch from, and white tail flashing, those swallowed by reeds. When I am in the Adirondacks, I'm in a house just above a wonderful Adirondack river called Yosebo. And this is about that. It's called Sleeping with the River. I sat on the river bank all afternoon until the sun went down and Venus shone low. I sat and watched the water swirl into braids and swirl out. I watched the leaf ride before it was tossed into sluggish water near the bank. Evening fell, but full moon made moving water sparkle. Still half entranced, I scrambled up the bank and across a rough meadow to home. Before climbing the stairs to the porch, I stopped to listen to the river and a single owl. When I was sure that Orion was still in its place, I went up to my bed to sleep in a room whose floor was earth and whose ceiling was moonlight. All night around me, in generous winds, the river pursued its fancy dance as if it were still learning.
Bert, your time's up now.
Okay, thanks, Gloria.
I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. Thank you so much. And can we give Bert an applause?
Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, let's give all the readers tonight a hand, okay? It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Gloria, for doing this.
Oh, thank you. It's good to see you.
You all.
So tomorrow on Facebook, anytime during the day, once they get it up, Mary Bonina and Mark Pavlek are going to post a video. So you'll be able to see that on Facebook at any time. There's no Zoom reading tomorrow night. So that will take the place of it. And so I want to just thank a few people, and then that will be it. Karen Friedland, Renuka Raghavan, RJ Jeffries, and Zach, who was my intern this summer. They all are such a big help to me, and I'm very grateful. And so that is it. So good night, everybody, and thank you so much.
Good night, Gloria.
Thank you, Gloria.
Bye.
Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.